Hello there and welcome to the Easy as Accounting software video presentation. I'm going to take you through the expense screen on this presentation. There may be one or two videos for this because it's such an in-depth area. If I click on expenses on the main menu, it will take you into our typical expense screen. Here is where you'll enter the details of a receipt that you may receive. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have your date column, your method of payment, the category to which the receipt belongs, and your totals, etc., etc. I'm just going to do a quick entry so you can have a look what happens. If I click the new entry icon up the top here, it will take me to the next vacant line. For example, let's say today happens to be the 6th of the 6th, 09. That's the date, or sorry, it won't be today's date. Naturally, it'll be the date of on the receipt because that's the easiest way for you to find it at a later date. So you put the date of the receipt, enter it in, select how you paid for the item. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to put cash. It happened to be some materials that I purchased. So I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to click on materials. And what will happen next is the income tax pop-up calculator will pop up. What that's trying to do is it wants to calculate for you the amount of sales tax is in that particular item. If you have to collect sales tax, as many governments now want us to do, if sales tax is in that item, the particular receipt or invoice you receive when you purchase the item might not necessarily tell you how much sales tax is in it. It might just say sales tax is included. So it's up to you to calculate the sales tax. So depending upon your system, you can set up you can change the standard rate of sales tax. Here, this is set for Australia. In other videos, I'll show you how to change all that. But for now, if say I purchased an item and it was cost $100, I just put the whole amount in there. If I click OK, you'll see what it does. It has calculated automatically that 10% out of the 100 is $9.09. It's calculated how much the percentage of sales tax was included. It's actually, and not 10% out of 100, it's actually an addition. See, the particular item was cost this, they add 10% for sales tax, adding the 10% equals $100. That's how it works out. Okay, all you need to know is that the calculator pops up. If I change this again, if I say go back here and say, well, it wasn't, it was a phone expense, I selected the wrong entry, I can change that. At the same time, it'll pop back up. $100 is correct, I click OK, and now it's against this item. So it doesn't really matter what you do, it will remember the item, the amount you last entered in for that line, okay? So you can't muck it up. Another thing I want to point out is this calculator is popping up because you have this tax calculator icon on. If I click this icon and switch it off, see how it says off? When I do this, nothing's going to pop up. So if you don't have to collect sales tax, leave that off. Once we set this to off, it will remember this. So any other time you come back into the expense screen, if I exit out of this screen, I'll prove it to you, and I come back in, it's off. So it knows, hey, you don't want the tax calculator on, and it will never come back on until you physically turn it back on. And if I click this calculate button on the outside here, it won't work now because it says the tax calculator is turned off. Tax calculator means just that, it calculates sales tax. Right, so if I turn it back on, now if I click this button here, it popped back up. Now if you have a look, it says $35 now. It's calculated the total of this line, and it knows that it was $35. So that's very simple, very basic stuff. I only want to point out couple more little things here. If I go back to new entry, and I'm going to enter another entry in here for you, 609, do that date again. I'm going to select my method of payment, it's credit card, to say it was part of the general category, whatever. This pops up. Now, that's a bad example. Let's jump in and make it a phone. This will make more sense. If I make it the home phone, so I'm going to put it into the category of the home phone, and let's say that my bill for the home phone was $200. Most governments allow you to have a deduction naturally because it's a phone expense for your business. But if it's your home phone, and if you are using it for work, you might have told the government, well, I'm going to claim 30 or 40% of my home bill as business because I use it for work. It depends on your business, of course. You might claim 90% of it as work. The quickest way to do that is this. Don't enter anything in here to stay it away. Say you have a bill there that says you owe us $200 for the phone. Click this icon here, the EXP icon. Click that. Enter in how much of that particular bill is home use. So in this case, I'm going to say 40% of this bill is a tax deduction. So I'm going to enter 40%. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to enter 200. This rate of GST is correct. If I click OK, watch what it does. It's calculated straight away for me. 40% of 200 is $80. And there's the calculations here. And it's put in this little column here, 40% in the additional comments. So we know when we come back and look at that later, home phone bill, it was an amount for that particular month. I said 40% of that was an expense, and there we have the total. So it calculates it all for you. Basically, that is the expense screen in the real nutshell. You don't need to know much more. However, there are other advantages on this screen. If I look up the top here, see these column headings? See how at the moment, sorry, let's just backtrack. See at the moment I've only got one expense showing. If I click this all button at any time, it brings all the expenses back to the screen and we see everything. Let's say I want to see this column here in category order. So if I click the heading here, it has put these in order. See the alphabetical order here? So it's grouped everything together. So if I click the heading, it groups everything. Let's say I want to see everything in cash order. Click this here. It groups everything. And if I click the top and bottom of these two words, it will put these in ascending or descending order. Same with the date. Click this, it puts everything in date order. If I click the top, it puts it into date order going forward. Click on the bottom and puts it in date order going backwards. So there's my last entry. The entry I just entered in here is my most recent entry. Well, actually, it isn't. This is it here because it just put it in order, and there were the two dates. But they're the most recent entries that I entered before, which was a home one. So you can see there, if you click these column headings, you can just change the order that you see on the screen. That's all it does. This one here has only one purpose. You can only go ascending in alphabetical order going down. So this allows you to switch around looking at your data any way you want. If I jump up the top here and look at this bit here, if I select, just say I only want to see on my screen all the items from the home bills, the home phone. So I could quickly select this, because if you've got 10,000 items here, it's too difficult to scroll up and down the screen looking for stuff. So I could click this icon and say I only want to see items that I marked against the home phone. I click this, and now all I see is these items. I can now click all button and everything comes back. See how simple that is? If I click this here, this will always take me to the very last entry on the screen. There's our very last entry we entered in. It takes you directly to it, so that you can always see where the last entry was. Another thing here, if I click the home phone now, and I say I only want to print a report consisting of all of that, I can click print right now, and it will print that particular report only. I wanted to show you that, but I don't think my settings set up for that. So let me just test it out. If I click print, I will see if it's going to. Okay, I'm going to have it click to a PDF so that you know it'll open up in a second. And there we are. It's printed that report, and it's only showed me those particular items here under the phone category. So there's nothing else on that report. But again, if I was back here and I click all, and I want to click print see everything, I click this report, and it will print the whole lot for the whole year between those dates. I'll show you. Between these dates here. See, it categorizes everything, puts everything together in their categories. Fuel expenses got the most entries here. They're all categorized together between these dates. So if I change these dates, and I might say I only want to print for the second half of the year, I just change this date at the top here, and I can print that. I can also view on the screen. I can also say I only want to view items after the 1st of the 6th. I click view, and the screen will only show me those entries. What we need to do now is I'm going to exit this particular video because I've gone over the time allotted, and I'm going to jump back in and finish off this presentation. Okay, thank you.